people will only help you, some people will only help you as far as they can see you. And what I mean by that is people are comfortable supporting you when you are at the level they understand, when they feel like they can relate to you, when they feel like y'all are on the same page, when they feel like there's no gap. But when you start growing, when your mindset shifts, when your vision gets bigger, when your discipline changes, something happens. You start to feel a difference. And it's subtle at first, right? The energy isn't the same. The excitement isn't the same. The supports become quieter. Friends have levels. And we don't like to always say that out loud because it feels wrong. To some people anyway. It feels like we're ranking people. It feels like but no, it's not about ranking people, actually. It's about understanding access. What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Old to Be Young podcast. This is episode 4. Have you ever been in a room full of people and still feel like you didn't belong? Not because nobody spoke to you, not because you didn't know anybody, but something just felt off. Like you're laughing, you're talking, you're engaging, but it didn't feel real. It didn't feel natural. It felt like you couldn't fully be yourself. And then you leave that space and it's quiet and you're sitting there like, what was that? Why did I feel like that? Why did I feel like I had to adjust myself just to exist in that space? And that's what I want to talk about today. Finding your people. And not in a surface level way, not just, oh, these are my friends or these are the people I hang around. I'm talking about the people who actually see you, the people who you don't have to perform for, the people you don't have to shrink yourself around, the people who don't make you question where you stand in their life. Because the truth is, everybody has people around them, but not everybody has their people. And a lot of us don't realize the difference until we start growing, until things start shifting, until the same spaces don't feel the same anymore. Let's talk about it. I can say that college is one of those spaces where you're growing, you're learning, and sometimes hurting all at the same time. And people don't always talk about that part. They talk about the fun, the freedom, the experiences, but they don't always talk about how confusing it can be because you come into college one way and then life starts lifing. You meeting new people, exposed to new ideas, stepping into new environments, and at the same time, you're trying to figure out who you are. Not who people think you are, not who you used to be, but who you actually are becoming. And in the middle of all of that, you're trying to build relationships. You're trying to find your circle. You're trying to figure out, who do I trust? Who do I open up to? Who do I keep around? And that's where it gets tricky. Because everybody you meet is not meant to stay. And that is hard, especially when you're someone who values relationships. Some people are there for a class, some people are there for a moment, and some people are there to teach you something. And sometimes, my friends, that lesson doesn't always feel good, but God knows it is needed. Sometimes that lesson feels like and looks like disappointment. Sometimes that lesson looks like realizing somebody isn't who you thought they were. Sometimes that lesson looks like outgrowing people you never thought you would outgrow. And that is not always easy because now you're not just learning academically, you're learning relationally. You're learning people, and people are very, very, very complicated. There have been seasons in my life where I was always around people, and honestly, that may be a season I'm in now. Always. Organizations, leadership roles, events, meetings, conversations, always moving. And from the outside, it already probably looked like I had community. Like I had found my people, like I was good, but internally, I was still trying to figure out if I actually belonged in those spaces. And that's something I have to be honest with myself about, because you can be surrounded and still feel unseen. You can be in the middle of a conversation and feel disconnected. You can be laughing with the people and still feel like you're not fully there. And that's a different type of lonely. It's not the lonely where you're by yourself. It's the lonely when you're with your people, supposedly, and still not fully known. And that's confusing because you start questioning yourself. Is this me? Am I overthinking? Why do I feel like this when everything looks fine on the outside? And for a while, I just ignored it. I kept showing up, kept smiling, kept playing the role, kept laughing. But eventually, you can't ignore that feeling anymore because it keeps coming back. It's like 360. It can always circle back and slaps you in your face. And when you realize something needs to shift. Another thing I had to learn, and it changed how I looked at relationships completely. People will only help you, some people will only help you as far as they can see you. And what I mean by that is people are comfortable supporting you when you are at the level they understand. When they feel like they can relate to you, when they feel like y'all are on the same page, when they feel like there's no gap. But when you start growing, when your mindset shifts, when your vision gets bigger, when your discipline changes, something happens. You start to feel a difference. And it's subtle at first, right? The energy isn't the same. The excitement isn't the same. The supports become quieter. And you're sitting there like, what changed? And the truth is, sometimes nothing changed about how they feel about you, but everything changed about how they see you with their eyes. Because now you're moving in a way that's unfamiliar to them. And not everybody is comfortable with that growth. Some people can only support the version of you they recognize. And once you step outside of it, they don't know how to always respond to that. And that's when you have to be honest with yourself. Not everybody is meant to go with you. And I'm going to repeat that. Not everybody is meant to go with you. And this is where a lot of us get confused. Just because somebody has access to you does not always mean they are fully aligned with you. Shout out to Caleb. Go watch episode 3. And that's a hard truth too, y'all. Because we equate proximity with connection. We think because we are around people, because we talk, because we laugh, because we share a space, that we are aligned. But that is not always the case. Access is easy. You can give people access without even realizing it. But alignment, that takes intention. Alignment is when you can grow without it creating tension. You can have hard conversations without it becoming personal. You can be honest without it turning into conflict. Alignment means we're not competing with one another. We're not secretly keeping score. We're not uncomfortable when one person starts doing a little better. And the truth is, everybody in your life is not aligned with you. Some people just have access. And once you understand that, you start to move differently. Friends have levels. Let's talk about it. Because I think this is where a lot of us may struggle with. Friends have levels. And we don't like to always say that out loud because it feels wrong to some people anyway. It feels like we're ranking people. It feels like but no, it's not about ranking people, actually. It's about understanding access. Let's use Delta Airlines for an example. And shout out to Delta Airlines. We love sponsors here at the O2B Young podcast. Everybody is not meant to sit in first class. You got first class, comfort plus main cabin, and basic economy. Different levels, different access, different experiences. But the mistake we make as people, we try to give everybody first class access to our lives. We tell everybody everything, and it'll blow up in our face too. I learned the hard way. We give everybody our time. We give everybody our energy. We open ourselves up to people who hadn't even earned that level of access. And then we get hurt. We get confused. But the reality is, people, everybody doesn't qualify for the first class access you are giving them. Some people are meant to stay in basic economy where you don't even get an assigned seat. And that is okay. That doesn't mean they're bad people. That just means they don't have full access to you. And once you understand that concept, you stop overextending yourself. And this is where I had to check myself, because I'm naturally someone who gives. If I rock with you, I rock with you. I'm showing up for you. I'm going to support you 10 toes. I'm checking it. I'm making sure you are good. And at some point I had to ask myself, am I giving because I want to give, or am I giving hoping it'll be returned? And that is a real question, because a lot of us don't realize we're over giving in spaces where we're not being poured into. We're showing up at a level for people who wouldn't even inconvenience themselves for us. And we keep doing it because we think if I just keep being consistent, they'll match it. No, stop that. Some people will benefit from your consistency without ever reciprocating it. And that's where you have to draw the line in the sand. Draw it. Stop giving people first-class service when you're barely getting basic economy from them. That line alone changed how I move because I had to realize something. I'm not about to keep overextending for people who are under-delivering. And another thing, everything doesn't need to be addressed. And I know that goes against what people say. People always say communicate, communicate, communicate. And I'm one of those people. Yes, communication is important. But let's be honest, some things doesn't require another conversation. If I've already brought something to your attention and nothing changes, you heard me, you understood me, you just chose not to adjust yourself. And I'm not about to keep explaining myself to someone who already knows. At that point, I just move differently. Sometimes you just remove yourself from the situation and it doesn't have to be any bad blood, just simply walk away. Let me go back to a situation because this is where it clicked to me. I had a friend, and again, nothing dramatic happened. No argument, no fallout, no big moment. But I started noticing something. And it was very small at first. I would see them consistently showing love to other people, commenting, liking, supporting publicly. And I'm watching this like, not even thinking too much into it at first. Because I'm like, okay, that's what friends do. That is completely normal. But then I had to start realizing something. That same energy wasn't being given to me. And I had to pause because I'm the type of person, if I support you out loud. I want people to know I got you, not for show, but because I believe in giving people their flowers while they're alive. So when I didn't see that being returned to me, it made me think. At first I told myself, it's not that deep. And then it kept happening. And when something keeps happening, you can't keep calling it a coincidence. So now I'm paying attention, not reacting, not confronting, just observe. And I started asking myself, why am I continuing to give energy where it's not being matched, at least halfway? And that's a hard question to also sit with because it forces you to be honest with yourself, not about them, but about you. Because at that point, it's no longer about what they're doing. It's about what you are allowing. People show up exactly who they are and how they move and how and what they prioritize and what they make time for. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So what do? Nothing. I do absolutely nothing. And I know people expect something dramatic. But no. I don't argue anymore anyway. I don't bring it up. I don't create tension. I adjust me because I can only control me as a person. That's it. I let them move how they're going to move and I move accordingly. No bad blood, no hate, no resentment towards anybody, but access change. They might have been in first class, but I'm just knocking them down row by row. And eventually they'll be back to basic economy, where they don't even have an assigned seat or space in my life. And that's growth for me. Because the old me would have addressed it emotionally, would have let it build up inside of me, would have said something in a way that probably didn't help anything, right? But now I move with awareness. Because I have too much to lose to wrap myself into situations that I don't benefit from. And that leads me into emotional control. Because this is something I had to grow in a whole lot. Shout out to my therapist for this. Because if you're not careful, your emotions will have you reacting in ways that don't reflect who you're trying to become. And I've been there. God knows I've been there. The one that know. Reacting in a moment, speaking off feeling, addressing things too quickly, and later realizing that didn't even need, because I'm getting tongue-tied here, that level of response. Everything doesn't deserve your reaction. Everything doesn't deserve your energy. And that doesn't mean you're ignoring things. That just means you're choosing peace over impulse. And that is what I call maturity. Now, when something happens, I sit with it. I don't rush a response. I ask myself these questions though. Is this even worth my energy? Is this a pattern or a one-time thing? Am I about to respond out of emotion or clarity? And sometimes the answer is to do absolutely nothing, because silence can say more than words can. And growth looks like not reacting the way you used to. And let's be real for a second, because this part may not feel good, but it's necessary. Some people are threatened by your existence. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Not because you did anything wrong, but because of what you represent. Your growth, your discipline, your consistency, your ambitions. Sometimes your presence alone makes people uncomfortable because it reflects what they are not doing. And instead of being inspired, they withdraw. I don't know about you, but I love being around people who are smarter than me because I want to learn from people. I want to be able to be in a space with people where I feel like I can actually cling on to get some out. Sometimes the answer, another hard truth. Everybody talks. Let's be honest. When it's positive, when it's negative, people talk. But the difference is who's defending you when you're not in the room. Because you're not defending me. That tells me everything I need to know. Some people will support you in private, but not in public. And it's not always about jealousy. Sometimes it's because they've already spoken about you in a certain way and they can't publicly align with you without exposing themselves. And that's real. And once you understand it, you stop taking things personally and you start seeing things more clearly. Let's unpack this word, friend. Let's break it down, because we throw the word friend around a little too loosely. But let's define what friend stands for. F, foundation. The R, reciprocity. I, intentionality. E, energy. N, non-negotiables. And D, depth. Let's remember that acronym, because I'm saying all of this for a reason. You might be thinking, so what does it actually look like to find your people? And let's be honest, when you find your people, you'll know. It won't feel forced. It won't feel confusing. It won't feel like you have to question where you stand in someone's life. You won't feel like you have to shrink yourself to fit into a box that someone is trying to put you in, because your friends will allow you to flourish. You can just be, and that is rare. These are the people who show up for you, support you out loud, correct you when you are wrong, and celebrate you without competing with you. And when you find that, you don't take it for granted, because real connections are very rare. And me personally, I know for a fact that I love hard, and my friends will tell you that. I'm loyal, I show up, I care deeply, and yeah, I say it, I am a little territorial when it comes to my people. Not in a controlling way, like you're grown, do what you want to do, but in a I care deeply about who I'm connected to type of way. And because I'm calling you my friend, it means something, and I expect effort. Not perfection, but effort. This is what I expect from my friend. And if you are going to be in my life, don't come empty-handed. Bring something with you, because I'm going to bring a lot to the table. Energy, support, honesty. And if it's money, bring it too. We can go out to eat. A paper plate, something. Just don't come empty-handed. So I'll leave you with this. Who in your life actually sees you? And who just has access to you and are holding on to you because of who you are or who you used to be? Because those are two different things. You are not lost. You are becoming. Thank you, and I will see you on the next episode.